So, talking about science and Krishna consciousness, it's a good topic because sometimes a number of devotees are not aware of how Krishna consciousness is actually a science. And what does science mean? Science literally implies that we perform some experiments, we have some observations, and there are results, and there are inferences you draw from those results. So, the very basis of Krishna consciousness is derived from or is on a scientific footing because Lord Chaitanya founded this Sankirtan movement, the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Now, when Lord Chaitanya advented, he could have said something else. He could have encouraged devotees to do something else. For instance, individuals being in their private homes or private rooms. If you have a family, even in the private rooms, like everybody in America, most of the homes, people have, each and every home has a TV. So then, if Lord Chaitanya, who is so liberal, who also knows everything, what is most ideal, what is most beneficial for people like us in the age of Kali, in this 21st century, where our attention span is so low, our age span is also very, very low, and so many things we are at a disadvantage. And so Lord Chaitanya wanted us to introduce this simple system of worshipping the holy names, the Hare Krishna mantra. And he said, come together congregationally and chant the holy names. So an introspective thinker will want to query, why did Lord Chaitanya say this? Why did he say like that? Why did he just encourage people to be in their individual places, individual homes, and chant? Does it not produce the same effect? Why have to come together to chant? So this is explained in the science or in a model, in scientific model we call synergy. Synergy model implies that when two or more people come together to do a particular thing, the results are always greater than individuals doing that same thing. You can Google this up on the internet. It's a model, it's a scientific model. And that is why teamwork is very much encouraged. This is the whole reasoning behind teamwork. So Lord Chaitanya also wanted us to have that team spirit, come together and chant the holy names. It's not just about singing, but this is the scientific implication. The result of the purification or the concomitant factors that come along with the chanting. We know the chanting, the purpose of the chanting is Krishna Prema Pumato Mahan, to attain pure love for Krishna. But there are also concomitant factors. And these concomitant factors are also being verified by scientists. And so we now understand that this Sankirtan movement is a scientific model. That is there. It's all pervasive in the science field, whether in the hardcore sciences, in the management sciences, in the social sciences, it's there. And so the whole idea is that when we understand this basic principle of synergy, that helps to motivate us in terms of how we can have the self-motivation to come together to chant the holy names of the Lord. Because this is more beneficial than individuals staying by themselves and chanting 108 rounds every day. See, the chanting of mantras has also been verified as a scientific means of reducing crime in society. I'll give an example. In 1990, some scientists, they came together in Washington, D.C. and conducted an experiment. Keep in mind, the science is based on experiments, observations, and results, and then they draw their inferences. So these scientists, they came together and then gathered some chanters of spiritual names, spiritual holy names of God, Krishna. And before they started that experiment, they checked with the crime diary of Washington, D.C. And when they checked, they recorded the crime rate. And so during the period they were embarking on the chanting, then they realized that during that period, when they checked the crime diary, during that period, that cognitive time frame, the crime rate plummeted. The crime wave went down. So then they came up with the inference that the mantra chanting actually helps to reduce crime wave. Now, why do we come out to do the Harinam and all the rest of them? We understand this is a religious principle, and so we may not understand this other aspect, how it is not just only a religious principle, but it has a concomitant factor in the sense that it helps to reduce the criminal tendency of human beings. We say purification, but purification in itself, it is a religious language, just like chanting is a religious language. And so, we understand that the chanting purifies the environment. And that is why we go out on Harinam, to perform Harinam, to purify, even the trees, to allow them to get some benefit. But here is the deal. The scientific advantage of this outing, of being able to go out to distribute the holy names, is that not only human beings benefit, but even trees, people who are living entities, embodied entities who are engrossed in a mode of ignorance. The trees are engrossed in a mode of ignorance because the rain falls on them for decades, for years, sometimes hundreds of years. The sun, heavy, scorching sun, they bear the brunt. The snow comes, heavy snow, they bear the brunt. They don't complain. But the point is that they have that type of a situation where they are conditioned to be able to tolerate all of those things. So being a body of a tree is not a juicy thing. It's just that they are conditioned. Just like being in the body of a dog is not a juicy thing, but they are conditioned. So they smile. The dog smiles with the honor as a friend. He pays or he carries out orders and all these things. But perhaps if the dog has a high opportunity, they would have chosen that. But they have no choice. And so, not only does the chanting help in mitigating crimes, but it also has, before we come to that, I will also emphasize on this point, how Srila Prabhupada, he went, when Prabhupada was on the planet, he went to Chicago. He went to Chicago, and then a police officer encountered him, and he asked Prabhupada, what can your movement do to help to reduce crime? And so Prabhupada said, if people chant Hare Krishna, crime will go down. But then we can't repeat this to say a scientist, because the scientist will say, well, that's a religious belief system. What's your proof? In fact, Prabhupada's statement response to the cop in Chicago, that motivated me to conduct my own research to determine how chanting actually helps to mitigate crime. But I don't know that these other scientists, they've conducted the research which shows that the chanting actually mitigates crime. But then, in science or in research, we have what is called replicability of a research result. Now, if some other scientists also conduct that same research or similar research and they get similar results, then that research results are applicable in all circumstances. So I conducted my own research following the footsteps of those scientists, but my research was specifically on an area of crime we call financial fraud. Now I conducted this research and had it presented at the World Academy of Science, Engineering and Technology in London. I made a presentation on the 28th of June 2021 in London. Now, what is the title? Now, it is the same thing, the same chanting, the same content. It's just that the words were phrased to suit the purpose of the audience. How is that? Now, instead of saying chanting, I said sonic therapeutic intervention. The theme of my presentation was sonic therapeutic intervention for preventing financial fraud. A phenomenological study. A phenomenological study is a study where you have to examine people's lived experiences. The people in your research are human subjects. They have passed through some experiences when they engage themselves in a particular phenomenon, and you want to verify, you want to determine what their experiences were. And so that is about phenomenological study. And specifically, the approach the design of that research, it was basically a qualitative phenomenological research. And so here we have some simple thing that we do in our temples. We come together and chant. And now someone who has skills in science, who has skills in research, is putting that very simple concept or that simple phenomenon into a situation where the people who are not even religious are able to absorb it. So I conducted this research, and then after the presentation, even the organizers, they were very much appreciative of the presentation. But then the whole of these so-called big words or scientific terminologies, sonic therapeutic intervention, which simply means the chanting of Krishna, chanting of the holy names, for preventing financial fraud. We all know what is financial fraud, cheating. Especially those who work in the finance industry, you know what financial fraud is. It's a big problem in the whole country and practically in the whole world. America alone, we lost billions of dollars every year to financial fraud. So then, after the whole content is based on how chanting Hare Krishna helps to increase or to promote self-control, high self-will, and other factors that help to promote this willpower to resist temptations regarding, stealing money or taking money from places that are open, are vulnerable places, and then we got caught up with the whole situation in the future. And then when that research and the whole content was about how chanting does this, how chanting does that. But you know what? Because it is put forward in a scientific way. We're using scientific tools and procedures. The research received the best presentation award at that very World Academy of Science, Engineering and Technology in London. And then it was published in the International Journal of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering. You could Google that up. Sonic Therapeutic Intervention for Preventing Financial Fraud, a phenomenological study by Vasudev Das. So, having said that, we talked about some crimes and how this very chanting that we do every day to purify ourselves, to be ready to invoke our dormant love for Krishna in our temples, in our communities, in our homes, what it does beyond just that. And keep in mind that the purpose of the chanting is not to mitigate crimes. This mitigation of crimes is just what we call a concomitant factor. Concomitant factor is something you you are doing something, but then there are side effects. I mean, it's like someone undergoes a chemotherapy. You're undergoing chemotherapy, therapeutic intervention to get some problems addressed or some problems resolved. But as most of you know, if you undergo chemotherapy, that is an intervention that brings side effects. And sometimes the side effects could be very grave. So the purpose of doing the chemotherapy is not to get side effects that you will lose your hair or you have some other trouble. But those are the side effects. Now, the sonic therapeutic intervention or the chanting of Krishna's name also has side effects. But the side effects are good ones. And so, one of the side effects is that it mitigates the intention of the conditioned soul to commit crimes. Because when you become purified, then you have self-control. You see everything as part and parcel of Krishna. So, stealing from what? Stealing from your family, stealing from your own coffers, stealing from your own savings. Basically, that is what implies here, that we are able to attain a particular level that we don't become vulnerable to engaging in crimes. That is one of the side effects of this chanting. Now, apart from crimes, there are other positive side effects, as scientists are proving, regarding this very phenomenon of chanting. And so, one of them is mental health. It has also been brought to bear through research findings in scientific journals. Scientists are conducting researches, and these are not necessarily devotees. They have conducted individual independent researches to find out, for instance, the effect of chanting on mental health challenges such as what is it called? Depression,
mental illness,
depression, stress, anxiety, and all these things. In fact, I think in 1990 or so, I don't remember the exact date, but then somebody conducted a research at Florida State University on that research was his PhD dissertation. He conducted a research on the effects of chanting Hare Krishna on stress, anxiety, and depression. And he came up with the results that the chanting helps to mitigate all of these type of mental health challenges. And of course, it's not surprising to the devotee, because our very slogan is chant and be happy. And the happiness is a mental health process. If someone is happy, it means he has a good mental health. If he's not happy, it means he's depressed. And that depression could come from a number of factors that are propelling that person to have that state of mind. So, and not only that, other researchers have conducted similar research, again on mental health, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra on mental health. And they come up with amazing results supporting all of these early researches, bringing to bear that the chanting helps to minimize stress, anxiety, depression. Now, not only that, it just last year, some scholars, some researchers, some scientific researchers, they come up with findings that the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra helps to mitigate the vulnerability of the individual to dementia. Can you imagine that? Oh yeah. So this is not a religious dogma. They are investigated with scientific equipment through a scientific process, and they come up with this. It's not that someone says, I believe that the chanting of the Hare Krishna mitigates stress, anxiety, or depression. No, it's not a belief system. If even it's a belief system, it is backed with a scientific data. Even in science, we also accept the principle of belief, but the belief has to be backed by data. And so here we are preaching a mission that is of scientific orientation, but in most cases, we don't even know. Other people have conducted all of these researches, but the good thing is that it's for the betterment of leveraging the world in terms of ability to be able to convince people to take to Krishna consciousness, not simply based on religious dogma, but on scientific basis. So, beyond even that, let's talk about education. Researchers have also come up with research results, again, on the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, showing that the chanting of the holy names, these are quantitative researches. Results of quantitative researches are generalizable. It's not that the research was conducted in America and so it's not applicable to other parts of the world. If it's a quantitative research, the very principle of generalizability comes in, because anyone can conduct a similar research and get similar results. So this is a science of quantitative research. And so, talking about education. Now, even in educational field, scientific researchers have come up with research findings that the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra boosts educational performance. Oh yeah. And so a number of researchers have come up with this very report, that first of all, we need to understand that in Kali Yuga, our attention span is very, very low. That is why in modern times, the technologists, the people who are developing all these videos, they come up with a perfect match. They make short videos. Because it's not that because we are advancing too much. It's because our attention span has been depleting very seriously. And so they come up with all these plans about short videos. Because the short videos do not take so much of your time and does not require high attention span to be able to view a short video of maybe 45 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. No. And so they are also aware how we have become so depleted in our attention span. The good thing is that scientific researchers have come up with results that the chanting helps to improve attention span. So this is one of the weapons I use against students when they say, "Oh, I'm so busy with studies, I don't have time to chant." Yes, you don't have the time to chant. You're busy with studies. But here is a cheap way to be able to attain higher grades. I remember when I was doing my PhD, my Guru Maharaj ordered me to go to preach to professors when I was brahmachari, and then because I excelled in that service, so he ordered me to go and get a PhD. So when I was doing my PhD, there was an incident that happened. One of the required courses you have to pass before you go to do your doctoral dissertation was what we call quantitative reasoning and analysis. Now, this quantitative reasoning analysis is statistics. PhD level statistics. And I've forgotten which year I did statistics last, when I was a young man. And so the coursework was so terrible. The books were very abstract. The course materials were very abstract. And in fact, it happened that we were 10 PhD students in the whole of the faculty, and who sat for that course, and everyone else failed. I was the only person who passed that course, and I got 90 plus. So the professor, he's a Caucasian, so he fell in love with me. He thought, what? This black dude. So, and I've also personally conducted some research on undergraduate students, unpublished research on undergraduate students, determining whether the chanting helps to promote their grades. And the result was yes, it helped in promoting their grades. For instance, they gave a comparative narrative on the grades they had before they became involved in chanting. And so and then the grades they had attained by the time they were involved in regular chanting. So when they were involved in regular chanting, the grades were higher, far higher than the time they were not involved in the regular chanting. So these are some of the things that we can think of. And regarding education, the chanting also helps to directly improve cognitive skills. In fact, one of the research projects that I and some colleagues have at hand is to determine the effect of the Hare Krishna Mantra on the right dorsolateral prefrontal cortex of the brain, because that is the area of the brain that is responsible for willpower, and willpower is the ability to be able to exercise self-control, and that the part of that brain is also responsible for a number of other cognitive functions. And so what we're trying to do, I think what is remaining now is that we're going to apply for the institutional board review permission, and then we will proceed on that. So all of these are simple things, but they're scientifically based systems of how the Hare Krishna Mantra is being used in the world, not as the goal of these uses, but as concomitant factors to the process of chanting for pure love for Krishna. So, in a sense, from the beginning from the inception of the founding of the Hare Krishna movement, the Sankirtan movement, which again I mentioned is based on a principle scientific model we call synergy, and to this time, with just the chanting of the holy name, you can prove that Krishna consciousness is of basic scientific orientation. And even for our other teachings, things like reincarnation, psychologists can regress you to your past life to prove that there is reincarnation. Oh yeah, my Guru Maharaj, he was a psychologist, and they perform all these experiments when he was working and when even he was at Princeton University in New Jersey. So the basic things we teach. Dehi knows me at Adehi Kumara Yavanamjara, Tatadi Hantara Prapti, Zira Satamayoti. We graduate from one body to the other, and then eventually we give the body. We give up the body. And then Krishna said, if you're thinking of me at the time of death, then you will come to me. If you think of something else, you go to that very abode. So yes, reincarnation is also a scientific value that even modern scientists have proven beyond reasonable doubt through regression of individuals. Yes, maybe there are some comments or some questions here. I would like to have them.
Hundreds of billions of dollars to prevent the financial crime at this point of time, to financial industries and all these things. So, you have this, evidence. Is it going to be beneficial? What is the plan? Is it can the financial institutions can be educated on this subject?
Oh yeah.
Encourage on this, yes.
Yeah, I go back to different institutions and corporate firms to hold some programs. Even right now in Detroit, one lady, she is trying to arrange a program for us to make a presentation at our company. She works for an IT company, but every company has a financial department. So yeah, she's making arrangement. I go about each country I go to, I made presentations based on these some of these very salient points, so that people are very much aware of the wealth of Krishna consciousness, and they are able to appreciate what we have. Yeah, so if things are arranged, even in the workforce, financial industry, or whatever, yeah, you see, the beauty is that I coming from a very broad-based background. My master's was in education and philosophy. For years, I'm an educator, and my undergraduate program was in language arts and educational counseling. So most of the things that I read in academia, they are relatable to what is obtainable in the Vedic culture. If I tell you some things, you'll be amazed. Even the laws of criminology. If I ask you why people are involved in crime, I've asked a number of lawyers, some of even a number of my friends, lawyers. I asked them, what is the cause of crime in society? They don't know. Because they are not. That is not what they are taught in law school. But that is there in your own Bhagavatam, Adanta Gobi Visatam, uncontrolled senses. The general theory of crime also says the same thing. General theory of crime says low self-control. When people have low self-control, they can be millionaire, billionaire, or trillionaire, or whatever. They will commit the crimes. They will rape people. They will do all type of stuff. Yeah, so we have the wealth of knowledge. It's just that, we need people to be able to integrate this in their professional values to help to create a sustainable development in society. Yes, so I'm available for those type of stuffs too, and I've been doing that over the years. I mean, when I was in India, they invited me to make a presentation at one big company. Yeah, and the organizers, they were so shocked. Yeah. So I do all of that.
Thank you. I'll open to the devotees who has any questions. I have many, but I'm really impressed by this presentation. Let devotees ask any question. Anyone has any questions or comments, Maharaj or Maharaj?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for your presentation. I was just wondering a little bit more about your background. You said your background, your degree was in philosophy. Did you come to science first and then start to apply that to spirituality, or did you have a sense of spirituality and already had that connection with the Eastern and the Western ideas about that?
Okay, thank you. It's a nice question. My first degree is in language. I pursue language art and academic counseling. My second degree, master's degree, is in education and philosophy with a major in critical caring, a major in critical and caring thinking. And then the PhD is in applied management and decision sciences with a major in leadership and organizational change. So the marriage between science and what I do, or marriage between religion or religious philosophy with what basically we teach and what we impart on the world, I mean, it's just so grave to me because sometimes I read our own literatures and then I see the correlation in the management science field. Then I'm able to determine this theory is from the Vedas. Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Katie, for the question. Anyone else has more questions for Maharaj? We gave enough time, so please take advantage of it. And more than that, what he presented, I could hear that it's a proven So many times, even personally, Maharaj, we are hesitant to chant, forget about inspiring others. We take it for granted. Sincerity, we need to chant, we don't do it. But your presentation is like as a booster for us, I feel. So we gradually chant one round for after 3 months, then 2 rounds, and after 2 months, 4 rounds, or we should jump for 16 rounds of chanting, as you mentioned.
Thank you. That's a nice question. Now, what traditionally happens in cultivating people in the process of chanting is that there are some people, you see, those who chant, they have very high pious credit. Because not everyone is going to be attracted to chanting. Some people may become attracted to devotional life. They are attracted to doing service, but they are not able to have the willpower to chant. I'll give an example. My friend's husband, my friend, she has a PhD in some science field, so she has developed even a cure for some type of cancer. And she was worried about her husband because the husband doesn't chant. But the husband helps her in every damn thing. So then the husband happened to, I was going to go to their home. They live in New Jersey and I was staying in upstate New York. And he went to pick me up. But then I was planning, it's 45 minutes drive. I would chant at least 9 rounds. But no, he didn't allow me a breath of air. From the period we drove off, it's one question after the other, till the 45 minutes was expired. So he was so much addicted to Krishna consciousness. But then the problem is that he has not gotten that willpower to pick up the beats and start chanting. He said, but he will get there. That's what he told me. He will get there. So when I was at their home and the wife again was complaining to me, I said, hey, Mataji, calm your head. Your husband is a devotee, okay? Just give him time. Let him process. There are some people, I'll give you another example. When I was young, in fact, when I just joined the movement, I used to preach to one of my cousins, first cousins. He's a mathematician. And these mathematicians, they're very puffed up because they think they know better than anyone else. And so to convince them for anything is it's just a challenge. So I used to give him our books, Prabhupada's books, and I used to speak with him. But he never will muster the courage to practice. So I just left him alone. It's like over 8 years or 10 years, I have not communicated with him, I have not spoken with him. But just recently, another mathematician, another of my friend, that boy actually stayed with me in the temple, but then when he wanted to get married, so he moved there. He's also a school head. He's an educator. He's a mathematician too. So himself and the other mathematician, my cousin, they are friends. So he told me that, hey, Maharaj, you know what? I said, what? He said, that's your cousin. He said, he wants to do everything you are doing. So his time has come. We should encourage people to chant. And sometimes it is very difficult for our devotees because they feel, members of my family, I am doing this. Why not you? No, we should be patient with people. We should encourage them to do the needful. If they're interested in prasad, we should give them prasad. If they're interested in bhajan, we should encourage them to do the bhajan. And in the future, they will amass the credit that is sufficient enough to boost their willpower in chanting. So yes, if even we tell someone to chant 1 round, that's okay. 2 rounds, that's okay. But if they say they can't chant, still we should appreciate that they are doing some service. They are associating with devotees. The purification will take effect.
Well, I'm sure if you're here for a few more days in Delaware, everyone will start chanting more than 16 rounds. We really need it. And you mentioned about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, doing together is more potency than individually.
Yeah. And that's the principle, that's the scientific principle we call synergy. 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 It's a model, it's a scientific management model. That is why in management we encourage teamwork. because the teamwork always brings higher results than individuals independently performing the same activity.
Very nice. Recently, again, we resumed back our Saturday morning Nami again chanting together, and we have Harinam, we are going together. So I think this Nami again is going to benefit to us if we get together and chant.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Before I go further, I would like to ask devotees, anyone has more questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This is Vijayata.
Vijayata, Hare Krishna. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so really nice session, and being into IT, we can kind of relate, like really like the profession can help or kind of assist in promoting this, right? So that was really nice session. But the question that I have is, in your research, did you find any other element or more than one element which can also, along with chanting, would improve all these, like all the examples that you gave or all the researches, right? So along with chanting, any other element you felt was really kind of prominent?
Okay. Yeah, thank you. That's a nice point you raised. Now, in research, we don't involve too many phenomena in one research. In research, we try to focus on one phenomena, and then we explore on that so that we can get detailed information, detailed results about that very phenomenon. Now, there are many things that contribute to purity or contribute to mitigation of crime. I'll give you an example. Association. If we associate with someone who is criminally minded, if even we are not criminally minded, in due course of time, we will become a little bit affected by that association. And that is also explained in the theory of the field. The field theory was proposed by a German psychologist called Lewin. Lewin developed the field theory in 1938 and 39, which basically brings to bear that environment impacts on our behavior or our values. Therefore, we had repeatedly, especially our acharyas, contesting or saying that we should avoid association with non-devotees, because the non-devotees, we're not sure about their mindset, and therefore, if even we encounter them or if even we are in their midst, we should give association instead of taking association. So yes, there are other factors that help to contribute to crime minimization. But the focus in this research, or the other research that we are talking about, was directly on the impact of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Got it. Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Vijayata, for the question. Anyone has more questions? We allotted primarily more time so that we can really openly ask these questions. It's not a sentiment. It's proven in time, in thousands of years. And even though it is more than 50 years, so this generation is kind of confused. And Maharaj, I have a question on this subject. Your spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, he's also very learned. He's from Princeton, am I right?
Yeah.
You know,
He's a psychologist.
Sorry?
He's a psychologist, yeah.
Okay. Did you do also PhD? Did he do PhD?
He didn't do a PhD. He didn't do, but he was awarded honorary PhD.
So I think he was very much encouraged you to take this path and prove the world, the scientific aspect of Krishna consciousness. And
he was serving under within the periphery of Martin Luther King, but then he thought that will just not help. It will not go a long way and broad. That's why he chose to take to spiritual life, where he can really be out there to help people in all cultures and backgrounds.
Yeah. It's so wonderful to know, because at a certain point of time, this world considered Krishna consciousness as a sentiment, fanatism, or for emotional people. But we can see that very, very educated and learned scientists are also in our movement and practicing and preaching very sincerely. I'm very grateful and for your association. Maybe next time onwards we will have such kind of subjects which are really thought-provoking our congregation. Before we stop, anyone has more questions or comments from us? Mm-hmm. Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Radharaman Das. Do we have? Is it possible if you can share the paper which is published on this research? Like, is it statistically done, like all this other data collected, and then a lot of people do ask this thing that, okay, show me the data, right? Yeah. If you can share that, that'll be excellent. Then we don't have to do research ourselves.
Yeah, I can send that document to the president, and he could distribute it to all of you.
Yeah, I think that'll be excellent, Maharaj. Yeah. I think whatever hard work you have put in, we just want to make sure that we can share with the general public.
Yes, it's a good proposition, because we want as many people as possible to have an understanding how the chanting helps in so many ways, and it also helps to boost the social sanity of the country, because financial crime, for instance, is a big thing in America and globally too. So yeah, I can send that research paper to Krishna Ketan so that he could distribute it.
And another thing, actually, I work for a health insurance company, and we are coming up with newer and newer programs so that people are mentally stable, right? Because the biggest problem in this country is the depression and all these mental diseases, especially in America. And they cause like much more stress on the body, and then being a health insurance company, they have to pay for it, all these things. So they also are encouraging like different kind of yoga, meditation, all these different programs. Yeah. And this data, this statistical analysis and research can also benefit them, because then they can fully fund it. And then they can encourage them to come back. Like, say, if you do 16 rounds every day, I'll give you 10% discount on insurance. Right? I mean, this is how insurance companies work, right? Okay. So I don't have to spend money on you, then I will give it back to you, something like that. But I mean, like that's what the commercial usage for this thing is. So I think this will be very beneficial, and then I'll share with our company organization also.
I'll send it to you, especially you have your WhatsApp number, so I can send it to you too.
Yes, I have my WhatsApp. Thank you, Maharaj.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, in the absence of any other comments or questions, we'd like to join this meeting. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this.
I'll request our devotees, just for the benefit of the devotees who could not join, put comment each and every point, benefits of